Happy Friday, Pat.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
This is the magic hour where we get on here after the kids are done with school so that we don't blow up the internet with our millions and millions of viewers, because last thing we want is to be sucking up all the bandwidth. But before we get started, I wanted to, we're right in the middle of campaign season here, right at the end. And I get text messages from both sides of the aisle because my phone number's out there, right? Got this today. Pat Boone has weighed in on the Arizona Senate race. Listen here. Now, that's why I don't vote early. Because, imagine if I'd have made a decision without listening to Pat Boone. So
I know I'm glad I didn't vote early too. I'm gonna listen and see if he can sway me.
Jeez. Well, I'm still holding out for Tony Bennett. So we'll see, what happens there. But I want to make another quick announcement here on the channel for our loyal fans who have been watching. And hello, Jackie. Good to see
Jackie.
you. And that is that I'm updating the merch store. It hasn't, sometimes it takes hours, if not a couple days to do that. So look for it. But we're adding some exciting products here. Marry what, date who? Marry the house, date the rate. And then this one of Pat's favorite ones, Happy Holidays Cheese Tray 2022. That's going to be a bestseller. And then I made this one here, Mortgage Rate Diarrhea 2022. And then we have, Jackie, that Stream Elements bot, ignore it. I got to figure out what that is. And then our favorite here, which is, I just lost it, but it's Crushing
it 2020. Not, definitely.
Yeah, so
anyway,
we have banned that, but so anyway, that's where are in Ruby's mugs. They're coming. I've been working on this for an hour today, so bear with me there. But let's go through some of the numbers here, because I saw something in the Cromford report that made me feel like, wow, one time I was right. And down here, he's saying, although seller optimism is a thing of the past, there are relatively few sellers with an urgent need to sell. Realistic pricing and patience is the order of the day. The iBuyers, Open Door and OfferBad, still have large inventories of unsold and unoccupied homes. So this represents the distressed segment of the market. Foreclosures remain very scarce, so anyone looking for unusually cheap bargains is most likely to find them among the iBuyer listings. Where have we heard that before?
From Rick McHone.
Just about 2 months ago.
Truly.
There's no foreclosures. It's those guys.
Yeah. You're the one who did it or said it first. I heard it. So,
well, I think
we're cutting edge information here on this channel.
Yeah, it's just like a laser beam. I also read yesterday that, and I haven't seen it on their website yet, but that Open Door is coming out with a concept of where you can buy directly from them with Open Door exclusive listings that are going to be exclusive in-house for 14 days before they go on the MLS. And I'm thinking, what advantage does that give you? I mean, there's no bidding wars now. So do you get to rush in before anybody else sees it? Because we're only doing 2,200 contracts a week. So I don't get the concept. So I don't know what their intention is. So I think that's going to be something to watch,
So 2,200 a week, right?
That's how many contracts we're writing right now. It's an all-time low.
So it's still about 8,000 closings a month.
Yeah. But Open Door is kind of putting this thing together to say, come see them here before it goes live. Well, when it goes live, like to Jackie's point, did they join the 3-day people? There's no advantage. You're not going to go there and look at their homes because you fear that other people are going to bid on them. So, and they're not going to have near the exposure. They don't have the eyeballs on their site like Zillow does. So that might have been a concept that worked with Zillow. But I wanted to show here too, looking at the Crawford Market Index in comparison, if you look at Fountain Hills here, they hit a peak with, 100 being a balanced market. They hit a peak of 750 back in April of 2021. And now they're sitting down here at 147. And that is probably them and those guys. And let's see, Paradise Valley are the ones that have taken pretty much the biggest hit from the peak. Paradise Valley was at 460. The
Mm-hmm.
total of the let's see, the Cromford Index right here shows Buckeye all the way down at 49.8. And new construction, yeah, they're I guess you would say that they're approaching distressed sales, or they were kind of like Open Door and overly optimistic. But Queen Creek and Buckeye and Maricopa, these are the three cities that have the most construction going on, new construction. So they're the ones that have these low scores. When you individually look at the Cromford Index, you've got, demand has gone down to 77. The overall market here is down to 93, and supply is climbing, but it's not off the charts like you saw back here. But here's the interesting thing, Pat, and this is why I called this kind of stalled again, is how come average sales prices are not coming down at a rapid rate? They're, and there goes that sound again. I don't know what it is, Pat. Right there. How come that jogged back up? And
Yeah.
Where were rates about 40 days ago? They were considerably lower than now, right?
They were 40 days ago. They're probably, sixes. Yeah, they're still in the sixes.
So that might have been some of that, because we did hit 7 and we went down like 6. And so these are sales that are closing today. So that contract was written 30, 40 days ago.
Yeah.
And then, listings under contract, they're not collapsing. They're just kind of staying there like, the bottom feeder. And so a couple theories on my end. One we spoke about last night in the show, and that is that, buyers and sellers are waiting. Whenever things change as rapidly as they did, I think people sit back to take it all in. The sellers that are selling have to for various life-changing reasons, but they're sitting back to absorb it and try to figure out, well, maybe January will be better. Maybe January will be worse. And I read a statistic today that said nationally, it said that web traffic, people looking for homes, the web traffic is up 10%. And my personal theory on that is it's up because buyers are convinced that prices are going to come down, and they're checking to see if it's happened yet. You think that's far off?
No, I think, there's probably, human psychology is not hard to figure out. What you and I are feeling, or probably everybody else is feeling, so they're just kind of watching. Like I'll go on the site. I got this one gentleman that's looking at Maricopa. I think I told you about this. Open Door property was listed for $575. They dropped it now to $479. Okay. And he says they're going to probably still drop it further. And he's just kind of sitting watching. It's a very stalemated. It's a very stalemated market. Very stalemated.
Mike here's asking, I'm planning to look at buy in March. When should I get pre-qualified?
I'd say, if your credit's good, if you have nothing with your issues with your credit, if you got a good basic, background, I'd say end of February. You don't, but you could do Mike. You could do clients, or companies do a soft pull or hard pull. You could do I could do a soft pull with somebody doing a pre-qual, so it doesn't hit their score, just to give you an idea of what's going on. Because a hard pull would actually have some effect on your score. Eventually, you're gonna have to get a credit pull, but you could do a soft pull and kind of get everything together. General documents, bank statements, pay stubs, because you're gonna have to update those every 30 days. So, but
I'm looking for. I got a question there on Open Door, so I'm pulling that up right now while we talk. Let me see what I can come up with here. They have 1,428 listings. They had 1,500 last week. Gustavo, no, I did not hear that they laid off 550 employees. That would be nationally, of course. Doesn't surprise me. Zillow is laying off Lord knows how many, because they were all
Yeah.
the people that were still in the home buying and home selling part of the biz. So that part's gone. You're welcome, Mike. I think,
Yeah. Hopefully to
you know,
answer your question, Mike.
well, and you brought up something too the other day, and we talked about it today too, of talking about psychology and how long this is taking. Because when rates were going down, they were going down at a pretty good clip. So buyers and sellers are used to, in this market for the past 2 to 3 years, of reacting quickly and watching prices change quickly and
Mm-hmm.
rates changing quickly. Well, now it's a slow uh, death march,
Yeah.
and so we could be in this for 18 months. So we got running at altitude says entire real estate industry is laying off, and it's
Yeah.
all
They're
volume based.
what's that? Yeah. I mean, they're, refis are down 85 to 90%. I mean, there's lenders. I just saw this other non-QM lender. People would not know it's called Athos Capital, but they laid off. They basically, they kind of, let me pull this up real quick. I should have had this ready. And, they had well, gosh darn it. Let me see if I can pull it up quick. I had email. Yeah. Apis. It says, they did announce, but they're going to be winding down their operations. They'll honor any loans in the pipeline. But a lot of these lenders, when they shut down, they'll give you like about a 2 or 3 week period to finish up your loans. But then, you're kind of, might have to find another lender. But these non-QM lenders, that's what I'm seeing kind of getting scorched right now, is the non-QM, the non-qualified mortgage, the bank statement loan programs, the kind of weird, funky programs. They had said in their press release saying, while we've done a good job navigating the turbulent market this year, the writing is on the wall in regards to significant challenges that our sector will continue to face in the foreseeable future. Our outlook for the secondary market for non-prime mortgages is that volatility will continue, liquidity will become increasingly scarce, or worse yet, unavailable for a period of time. And with the loan sale premiums will be below most companies' cost to produce. They said they're choosing to exit the marketplace now before things deteriorate even further. This way we can unwind our business in an orderly fashion. They've been in business since 2008. It says here the company grew to become one of the 10 largest originators in the non-prime mortgage industry. They did about affiliates have procured $475 million worth of revolving lines of credit, blah, blah, blah. They said they funded over 14,000 loans, surpassing the $5.5 billion mark. They were kind of like a non-QM player, but so anyway, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing that market kind of unwind because the liquidity and the volatility is just causing these guys to go, schizophrenic. So, how many loans is a good loan officer selling? Selling. Volume is down. Anywhere from a couple loans to 5. A good loan officer. Obviously, sometimes good loan officers only do 1 or 2. Some will do 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, 10. Like the owner of my shop, he's consistently been, he's just crazy. He does about 40 to 50 loans a month, which is just bonkers. So,
Lennar is lowering prices in Austin. Will we see that here next? Absolutely. Yeah, we will. It's
oh yeah.
Well, Lennar, they're lowering their prices, and we'll see it here. At first, they increase their incentives. The amount of money you can spend in the center buying all your upgrades and stuff, and now they're going to start lowering prices. They will, but a lot of companies laying off, freezing hiring. Wells Fargo announced their mortgage applications are down so much that they're going to be laying off, and we saw that as well. And Commander's talking about open door homes down here. Poor craftsmanship, low effort repairs. Most units don't have refrigerators. So, wow, they repaired the termite damage. Yeah. They open door. Sometimes they leave the fridge, but they don't include it in the listing. So they just say they list all their homes saying that they don't have a refrigerator. And sometimes you go there and they do. And it's like, does it include the fridge? And they said, well, if it's in the house, yeah. So, but painting over termite damage, that's pretty bad. What I find though it depends on the contractor in the area. I've seen some open door homes they've done a really good job at, and some of them you just shake your head. We got one here with Gustavo said my friend lost $100,000 salary at the open door. Yeah, I mean that's the world we're living in right now. You know, I mean, and then going back to what you said, how many loans they go? What's the average sale for a real estate agent? You know, most real estate agents are okay with one a month. Some are, you know, they want at least 5. The average real estate agent makes under 50,000 a year. Those are the ones that if they're depending on that for 100% of their income, they'll fall out. But even with that statistic, keep in mind that there's all these agents out there, and a lot of people get their license and get with the MLS and they join an association just so they can kind of do their own inside deals and not necessarily sell. So it kind of drags the rest of the statistics down, like flippers. And so, and now see this is classic. 2 neighbors tried to sell and pulled their homes off the market. They're trying. If they can't do it, they're going to rent. I don't know how long it's going to take rent to come down. I think we're seeing some improvement. Somebody reached out to me yesterday and wanted me to run a couple zip codes in Gilbert, and they went down about 10 cents per square foot. That's not huge. If I look at overall, let's see. I'll see if I can pull up some rentals here. And it's always whenever I'm online, I go, I can't find it. There we go. Average rental price per square foot everywhere. Down $1.34 from a high of $1.40. So that's not huge. Not huge. So
well, you want to jump into this is the way the market's but this must be a sign the way the market's going here. Why don't you flip to my thing here?
Okay.
That's what I just got about 5 minutes ago. I'm like, what the hell? This is the MBS highway platform is undergoing scheduled maintenance as of Friday, November 4th. So,
okay. Well, we won't be looking at that now, will we?
We won't be. So maybe this whole real estate market is going under a maintenance. Maybe you should just go under maintenance for about another 6, 7, 8 months and just have this sign saying, we are going to be under maintenance for the next 6 to 8 months. Please check back when rates
every
hit.
website you go to is going to be a 404.
Yeah, 404. Please check back when rates hit 4.5 and values have dropped 10% more.
We'll be hunkering down.
Okay, so anyway, I'm going to not use the charts, but the 10-year was up 36 basis points today. I mean, you had a good day on the market. It was an interesting week with the Fed, obviously. It's going to be a bigger one next week with the elections. There's a 10-year auction, the 30-year auction. You know, these bond markets kind of see what kind of appetite, the buyers have. If there's a good appetite, that means that the buyers are willing to buy in at that rate, basically. Like, hey, when you have a terrible auction, the buyers are saying, hey, we see rates going higher. Why should we buy I'm making it simple, a 6% coupon when I can buy a 7.5 or 8% coupon. So, I mean, obviously the employment numbers came out, it came out like 260 versus, I guess, a forecast of 200. But unfortunately, Barry, which I was going to run that video a little bit, but he said that he's starting to see a crack in these numbers, these employment numbers, basically saying that there's been significant job losses in higher wage earners in the 45 to 54 age group. And that these numbers are still, like I remember I mentioned a week or two that these numbers are, from employment are strong, but it could be a lot of lower paying jobs that they're pumping up the numbers with. So, but other than that, it was a whole hum day as far as the employment numbers. Like I said, the big thing is going to be CPI next week to see what, that comes out. But Barry was also saying that they're seeing companies like, PayPal, this upcoming jobs report should be weaker because they're hearing these companies are basically kind of scaling back. They're kind of putting in hiring freezes.
Yeah.
So
Oh, no doubt, man. The tech industry is laying off like crazy. Tyler's asking, figure out how many new builds are complete and for sale. Unfortunately, there's no database for that. And I wanted to go back to Commander Chris here for a moment. He said he found one that was active and wanted to put an offer in. An offer pad responded already under contract. That was Monday. It's still on the multiple listing service this morning. If it's under contract, they're required by the MLS to update that within 24 hours. If they haven't, turn them in. And I'd call them and say, hey, look, that they just may be overrun with work, but it's still, I've been overrun with work too. And you still got to update your files. Pat, do you expect rates to stay higher for a long period of time than they anticipated? Longer period?
I mean, my personal opinion is yes. I mean, obviously Paul was mad. I mean, I don't know if he's probably talking about mortgage rates. Yeah, I think there are going to be. I mean, I think we're going to be in this period for a couple months. Expect to stay higher longer. Yeah, I mean, I think we do. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, people right now 7.25. If rates do go down eventually, I think it's not going to be this quick move because I think they'll, in June, July.
He's certainly telegraphing that rates are going to continue to build and climb and climb. And he's saying that
but the market looks ahead 6 months. Market looks ahead 6 months.
So the market, if they're seeing the data that the Fed's ignoring, they'll pull the rates down.
Yeah. They'll look ahead. Trading. Yeah, they'll look ahead and you'll start to see rates going down. But that right now, Barry was saying that you don't see the lenders at 7.25. The premium is very tough because the lenders, there is a lot of secondary pricing that goes on, but lenders don't want to be giving out any type of premium on to give your credit to your client at 7.25, 7.5, let's say, because if rates do drop, that's going to be a refinance coming off your books very quickly. So people are not willing to pay. Back in the day when bond and rates were stable, they would pay 102 for a bond trading at 100. That 2 points is kind of like a premium that they pay for servicing. There's a lot of secondary stuff that goes on. But now with the volatility, they're not willing to pay that premium. So that's why people have to pay points to get, the pricing that they need. So it's a very, the volatility in this mortgage market has been phenomenal. I mean, it's been very frustrating, but I think I'm getting this sense, like you said, my gut was not feeling good back in November, December. I was not feeling good about it, but then we started, the trek downwards, and your numbers did prove right in March and April when we saw that, the charts started coming down, rates were going up. And I don't think anybody anticipated rates to go from 3 to 7 and 7.25 in about 10 months. But I do believe that this will help kick out, the values coming down or rates coming down. I think rates coming down is going to have a bigger effect on the market because we saw that inflection point when rates did get down in the fives that people did rush out to get something locked in.
Well, Fargus says my mortgage payment can't exceed $1,560. I could afford a $280,000 condo at 5%. At 8%, only $240. That's why I go online to look, but don't get pre-qualified. Prices aren't dropping enough. So you need to find that sweet spot, and nobody knows when and where that's going to be. But you're definitely in a situation, Farkas, where I'd say I'd sit on my hands.
Yeah.
Condos and rates where they are. Unless you're getting severely burned with rent, I'd wait this out. I wouldn't rush to that. And
this is like this period that we're going through now.
You're alien landed again.
Oh yeah. I mean, this period is kind of like going through a bad divorce with a bad ex-wife that's going to last about 2 years.
Yeah. Here we are here. This is where the rates are not rates, but our inventory. And you can see that it came up and it plateaued. And the difference between this Friday and last Friday on number of active listings, 50 houses. So it's just staying put. You have a rubber band somewhere. I don't I don't know. We're going to have to figure it may be something with inside StreamYard because I've never heard that before. But anyway, we're plateaued here, but we're going to go down just because of the holidays. So I can expect that to continue. And that's my, and that doesn't take any scientific analysis. That's just where we are. We're getting in November and December. It says if rates go down again, what's the seller base going to do? Raise their expectations, flood of new listings, thoughts? We know that 5.5% is the sweet spot. When we get down to 5.5%, the sellers come back. They will come back from 2,200 on an average 7 days to about 3,000. That we know because we've seen it. But again, it depends on what the employment situation is at the time. I don't see that showing up anytime soon. Maybe March. I don't know. Powell wants to see unemployment go up. He's going to get it. Realtor and lenders first wave of pain, next construction workers and so on. Yeah. But we've been here before.
I don't think Powell is talking about realtors when he talks about employment, because I think he's talking about more. Because that's
we're
more of a
1099 people. So
they're contract workers. So they're 1099. So he's talking about real basically W-2 people, really. There's gonna be pain ahead. We're starting to see it. It's just gonna be one of those things where, once again, I think everybody, if I was a viewer on this channel, I'd want, I've talked to you about it as far as trying to figure out, give me some advice, which, where people are trying to look ahead, trying to get some idea what's going on. I think you and I try to do our best as far as just give a lay of the land. We're just as qualified to give an opinion just as anybody else that's making, these experts on CNBC. But it's going to be a tough go. It's going to be a tough. It's going to be pain. There's going to be a lot of washouts still, but there's still, once again, that buffer of people that don't have to sell. And I've got a number of people, I've been steady busy, got a handful of loans going, but I still have a number of people that are kind of out looking. They're just out in the weeds looking. They're like, I'm just going to sit back and wait.
That's that 10% that's increasing the web traffic. And look, I lived through 1979 to 83 when things really went to hell in a handbasket. And, when rates went up, the prime went up to 20% and stuff. And it's funny though. We didn't have the web, so we didn't have the data. We really didn't know what was going on. I was maybe 30, 28, 30, something like that. I didn't know, my dad was a realtor and, and he got a lot smarter as he got older. In other words, he'd give me advice and went right over my head, but I didn't feel it because there wasn't the flood of information that we have now. That the buyers out there now are more savvy than they've ever been in the history of real estate. You can't pull the wool over their eyes when it comes to value. They know what programs are out there. They've got their pulse on the market, where back in the 70s and 80s, we didn't have a clue.
No. Well, I give you kudos to, I really, like you and I talked about before we got on, if you look back at February, March, April, your data, whatever, how you pronounce it, did show that we were going to see a turn down.
Yeah, we were seeing things starting to come down. There was definitely the canary in the coal mine. The only thing I haven't seen is that this is your pre-foreclosures here. So there's nothing going on there. So Jackie says fake fear spreads faster and does have an effect. It does. If it's fake, but I'll push back a little bit and say that
your perception is your reality.
Yeah. The chatter that's going on now. And look, our debt to GDP is 125%. Back in the 80s, it was 31%. We don't have the tools to get out and kind of dig us out of this like we did back in 1980, 1981. So, there's some scary numbers floating around out there. And when you take that and you add to that the shortage of fuel around the world, this is hunker down time. So, and we're not doom and gloomers here. We're just saying, it's okay to sit back and watch. There are some bargains that pop up in real estate that we've seen, and they're worth pouncing on if you see them. You can get some pretty good concessions from sellers. The ones that don't want to give the concessions, they just pull it off the market. You know, they go, that's good, I'm taking it off. If you're in a certain price point, you can leave it on. So
yeah, she's right about that. There's a lot of false information out there too. Everybody's you're going to see a lot of drama.
Yeah, in YouTube, and Jackie, you're 100% right. There's a lot of YouTube thumbnails that have flames and arrows pointing straight down, and and despair, and so. But the overall general market, I don't watch a lot of network news. I hardly glance at it all. I just do a lot of reading. And there's a house in Phoenix that dropped over 20%, and asking price since June was priced under 400,000. All depends on what the house is like and what the competition is out there. We're seeing. It's frozen in time. I've got one that's 325,000, and we've had a couple offers on it, but they've got a septic tank, and these young buyers, septic tanks scare the bejesus out of them, and they think it's going to cost them a lot of money, or they think they're going to break, and they're going to have to spend 20,000 to hook up the city sewer. So they're trying to get this thing through harder and harder. But other than that price range keeps getting offer after offer. So there's stuff going on in that market. I can't complain about it.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think the impetus is going to be rates. I think values are going to fall off a little bit more. I mean, there's kind of a cushion there, but I think we're going to be in, like you said, I'm just kind of hunkering down, saying, hey, it's going to be a cold winter.
Next week is key, and next week I think it's going to take volatility to a whole new level, which doesn't bode well for rates. But we're going to see, you've got the midterms. You have whether they turn out like you want them to or you don't want them to.
Yeah, let's not get political here. Let's not get political.
It adds volatility. I'm waiting for Pat. I got to listen to Pat Boone.
Yeah.
So you got, whether it doesn't matter how it shakes out, there's going to be volatility in the market, because then you're going to have the CPI data come out. So next week's going to be one where watching the numbers is going to be a very interesting and wild ride. So we'll have all those numbers for you here. So until then, last thing, we still have room for the meet and greet on November 15th from 5 to 7 down in Chandler. I will put the link in the description below. I think I forgot to do it, but I'll add it. And we've got room for about 8 to 10 more people. So love to see you there. It's fun to go through the list and go, oh, yeah, that's him. I can't wait to meet this guy. So we're going to have a good time. So I hope you can join us. And that's 5 to 7 on November 15th. Everybody take on the day and have a great weekend. Thanks, Pat.
Yep. Thanks, Rick. Take care, buddy.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.